Hello everyone, I'm BatPan, a bot who uses PANARANG instead of BatArang. This is PANARANG if you don't know what that is. In this series of videos, I'll show you guys the functions I wanted from my game and the questions I had and the way I got them to work. And some of these functions are the functions of my upcoming game. With that being said, this video will cover the function of typing the sentence which is asked from us and check if the answer we gave was actually the same as the sentence which was asked. This video is kind of like the last video, but instead of checking the sentence word by word, we check the whole sentence once we've written all of it. I'll show you guys at the start what this function will be like. So without wasting time, let's start the video. What we have here is a canvas. I've put a black panel here as my background. As you guys see, we don't need to actually see the screen, and we're gonna only work with the text, so we actually don't need to see the background. So we put a black panel on the background so we can see the text better. Then I have a subtext, which is where we write in, like my previous video. And I have a write this, which is gonna show us what we should write. For example, hello world. I'm just gonna show you the function we will create in the upcoming minutes. So if we type it correctly, it is correct. If we type one word wrong, it won't tell us anything until we, completed our text. Then it's gonna read wrong answer and try again. It's not like the previous video. In the previous video, we would check the letter one by one. In here, we're gonna only, check the sentence at the end. If you have seen the previous video, you're gonna understand this pretty easy. But if you didn't see the previous video, don't worry, I'll explain it again. Right now, we need a code. We deactivate my game object so we don't use our code. I'm gonna create a C# script. I'm gonna name it type sentence check. You can name it whatever you want. I'm going to name it this. This is it. We're going to use a text file, so we need to add using Unity engine.ui up here, so it knows what a text file is. I'm actually using the legacy text, so if you want to use the legacy text, you can, use this line to add the legacy text. So we first need the text file of our subtext where we write in. So we say public text subtext. Then we need the text which says write this. So we say public text above text. I'm going to name it above text, the text which is on above. Then we need a string holder, which is going to hold our sentence. Then we need an integer of code int, which is going to, get a hold of our character number, house number, array house number. I need another string for the place texter. I'm going to name it place texter. You're going to understand why I created this in the upcoming minutes. Then I create a boolean. I'm going to name it should check, which is equal to true. I'm not going to name it should check. I'm going to name it can write, which is equal to true. So what this boolean does is it's gonna, let us write or not write. For example, if we type the text wrong, we can make this can write equal to false until we, reset everything. Then we say can write is equal to true, so we can write again. Now for the text we want to write, I'm gonna write, for example, first I'm gonna, give my holder the sentence. I'm gonna say I am BatPan, and I'm gonna make all the words capital. So we say holder is equal to holder dot to upper. So this is gonna make all our words capital. If you watch the previous video, you will understand this, but I'm going to explain it again because this is a different video. Then we put this value inside the write this, so it's gonna say write this, and it's gonna show the holder which is on BatPan. So we say under here, I'm gonna say above text, the text is equal to write this plus, get a bracket here, and I'm going to say plus holder plus another bracket with the space. So it's going to say write this, it's going to open a bracket, it's going to put on a space, it's going to put the holder value inside, then it's going to, create it with another bracket. So let me just show you this one first. I'm going to create an empty object to give my code to, so I'm going to say code holder. Then I give my script to my code holder. It needs a subtext and above text. So you can give it by, dragging and dropping it, or you can, click on this circle and choose it from here. So let me first show you. As you guys see, it made my sentence capital, and it said write this, open the bracket, showed us the holder value, then closed it with another bracket. So this was for the start and the text we wanted to write. Now for the actual function, as I said before, we first gonna check if we can write or not. So we say if can write is equal to true. So if we can write, then we go inside this. We should check if we have pressed any key. So we say if input dot any key, which is gonna check if we have pressed any key. And then we're gonna check, and we're gonna, input string. What this does is, it first checks if we have pressed any key, then it goes inside. If the key we've pressed is actually a character inside the input string, which is the keyboard values, then it's gonna come inside this and it's gonna do the things we say it to. As you guys saw in the finish function I first showed you at the start of the video, that if we want to, write stuff, we want everything to be capital. Whatever we write, even if it is not capital, it's gonna make it capital. We actually need a function. I'm just gonna, go down here. I'm gonna make it a type of character. So we say char. I'm gonna name it converter like the previous video. And it's gonna take a character with the name of C. We're gonna give it a character. In here, I'm gonna actually create a string. I'm gonna name it G1. Then I'm gonna create a character. I'm gonna name it G2. So I'm gonna take the character we just took and make it a string and make it capital. Then I'm gonna put the capital letter inside this character and I'm gonna just return this character we created, which is capital. So I'm gonna return the G2. So in here, I'm gonna say G1 is equal to C, the character we just took from the function, which you're gonna see in the upcoming minutes, dot to a string, which is gonna make it a string. Then I'm gonna say to upper, which is gonna make it capital. The character we took, for example, the first letter is I. If it was not capital, it's gonna take the I and it's gonna put it inside this converter. It's gonna come down, it's gonna make the G1, which is the string, put the C character, which is I, inside this. It's gonna make it a string, then it's gonna make it capital. So G1 is actually equal to this. I'm just gonna show you. G1 is actually equal to this. After this function, G1 is gonna be equal to this. So house number, it only has one house in an array. If you want to, put it like an array, it's gonna be, this is house number 0, A is house number 1. For example, E is house number 2. It starts with 0. So we delete this. We don't need this. I just created that to, explain it. Then we go inside G2 and we say G2 is equal to G1 house number 0. As I've told you before, house number 0 of G1 is actually equal to the letter we just took and it is capital. So G2 is actually equal to I. G2 is actually equal to this one. G2 is actually equal to this. Then we just need to return it to my, code, which you'll see up there. I'm just gonna say return G2. The character you give it will be returned as capital with the name of G2 and would be placed up here. So up here again, I'm just gonna create another character which is equal to T. I'm gonna name it T. Then I'm gonna say this character I just created is equal to converter. And the character we just took from up here, put it inside this converter, and whatever we get is equal to the character we just created, which is T. So T is actually the capital of C. Then I'm gonna say place texter plus equal T. This play texter is actually my secondary sentence which we use to compare. For example, our actual sentence is actually subtext. So we say subtext.text is equal to subtext.text is equal to plus equal T. So it's going to increase it by letter by letter. For example, first is I. It's going to add the I to my text. We have a string which we actually don't see. We just use it to compare to our actual sentence. So we see if they're actually the same or not. Under here, I'm going to say code int plus plus. So it doesn't actually repeat the word we just had. And it goes to the next house. For example, this is empty space. And house number 3 is actually A. So then we're just going to say if code int is equal to holder.length. So what it's going to check is if we have, pressed the same keys and as the, words inside this one. The space is also counted as a word. So in here we say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So in this case, if we have pressed 11 keys, it's gonna break out of the for each. It's gonna break out of this, and it's not gonna continue again. So then under here, we check again if the amount is the same. So we say holder.length. If it was equal to that one and it broke out, then it's gonna go in here and check again if it is true. Then it goes inside here. Then we have to check if the sentences match. For example, if we have written the same sentence as this one. So in here, then we're gonna check again and say if our holder is equal to our place texter. The place texter is the string where we put all the words we just had inside that, and is a copy of our subtext, the text what we have. So it says if our sentence is actually equal to the thing we just wrote, then I'm gonna say subtext.text equal to subtext.color equal to color.green. I'm gonna make my sentence green, and I'm gonna say can write equal to false. So we won't be able to write anymore. Else, if my code is actually wrong, what do I want to do now? Right now, I'm just gonna make my text red and stop the function from writing again. So to say subtext.color is equal to color.red. Then I'm gonna say can write is equal to false. So I'm gonna run it right now. If I type I am BatPan with this, it's gonna need 2 more values for the space. If I do say, it turns red and it won't let me write anymore. We go again, we say I am BatPan, it is green, and again it won't let me type anymore. Now for the function of saying that you have typed the sentence wrong and you should maybe try again. For that, I'm gonna do it inside an enumerator, because I'm gonna be able to, for example, wait for 1 second or 2 seconds. It is easier inside an enumerator. I'm gonna say enumerator. I'm gonna name it wrong answer, like my previous video. And in here, I'm gonna say subtext.color equal to color.red, and I can just delete this one from up here. So I change my color to red. Then I'm gonna say yield return new, wait for a second. I'm gonna wait for a second, wait for 1 second. Then I'm gonna say subtext.text equal to wrong answer. Just gonna say our answer is wrong. Then I'm gonna wait for another second. We wait for another 1 second. Then we say subtext.text equal to, for example, try again. Then we wait for another second, and then we reset everything. So we say subtext.text equal to empty, subtext.color is equal to color.white, because our default and idle color was white. Then we make our place texter, which is the string that we use to compare our word to equal to empty. Then we make our code int equal to 0, so it would start to check our sentences characters from 0. Then at the end you say can write is equal to true, so it would actually let you write again. So I just created the function. I just have to call it inside the function where we typed something wrong. So in here I'm just gonna call my enumerator. To call an enumerator, you're just gonna say start coroutine, and I'm gonna call my enumerator like this. Let us go and check this out. If I type something wrong, it's gonna say wrong answer, try again. It's gonna reset, then I can type again. In the previous video, I didn't create a function for when we did something true, and I told you guys you could do it if you wanted to. We actually didn't need to, but I just wanted to do it in this video, and I'm gonna do it like this one, and I don't have to explain it again. I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna keep the video short, so I'm gonna say correct answer. I just created another enumerator. We call it correct answer. I'm just gonna say subtext.color equal to color.green, yield return new, wait for a second. Then we say subtext.text is gonna tell us that our answer was correct answer. I'm gonna wait for another second. I'm gonna say you did great. Then I wait for another second and I reset everything. For the reset, you can just copy and paste this one and paste it under here. It's gonna reset everything. And instead of this, I'm just gonna call the function from up here. So I'm gonna say start coroutine, and I'm gonna say correct answer. So this is for when we are right. BatPan, correct answer, you did great. Then it resets, I can write again. If I type wrong answer, try again. But if you want to give it your custom sentence and you don't want to give it like this, so to do that, you can make this a serialized field. So we say serialized field, so you can change the amount from outside the code. Then you're just gonna have to delete this line. And that's it. So now in the code holder, in the editor, you have a holder. The thing here you can use and give your sentence. In here, I'm gonna say love word, for example, and it is all small, not capital. It's gonna take your sentence and it's gonna make it capital. As you can see, is hello world, and you have to write hello world in here to be correct. So this was the function of actually asking for a sentence and checking if the given sentence is actually equal to the wanted sentence. But this was the way I found easy for myself to understand, and I tried to explain it as simple as I could. I'm gonna go think about something for the end of the video, as I did in my previous videos. So this is what I created for the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.